All right, guys, this week we're talking about Functional Neurology 101. So before we start talking about all the conditions and everything we can help with, let's talk about the process of what we go through and how we can first figure out if we can even help people. And when it comes to functional neurology, we can get results across the board with a lot of conditions, acute and chronic, pediatric or adult. There's a couple that we just can't do well with, like progressive diseases, like some Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, things like that. But for the most part, we can usually get things figured out and help people, at least increase function for a good period of time, or make drastic life-changing changes to everything. So step one, coming in here, at least to our office, is one, sitting down and doing a consultation. I guess before that, people know me as kind of the paperwork guy. There's going to be a lot of paperwork that you'll fill out.
Yes.
This tells me a lot about what's going on with you. I'm already going to know what's going on with you or your child before you even come in the office. I will have a really good idea of what's going on, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. Have you done any recent labs or images or other specialized tests? I will know the individual on paper very well, so that way I know which direction I need to go with you, so that the only time that you've invested so far in getting this figured out with me anyway is the paperwork. This is also a screening tool. This paperwork tells me, are you as a family or an individual ready for care? Do we need to send you out somewhere else as well? It's a screening tool to see, this isn't in our wheelhouse. You need to go see this specialist over here first, and then you can come over here. That way we know you're in the right place. So step one, paperwork. Step two, sit down and get to know you, figure out what's going on. Again, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what you've been through. And then from there, usually on the second day, we move into the examination. The examination is where the rubber really meets the road. It'll look a lot like a typical physical exam from a doctor's office or a neurologist's office. However, where it differs is what we do with the findings and what the findings mean to us, and what we can do with just the smallest details of something being off by just a little bit. And when we are looking at the neurological function, primarily, we're looking at all functions: sight, sound, smell, touch, all sensations, ocular, motor, vestibular, proprioception, and motor. And then I guess within here you can put sensory integration. So we're going to figure out exactly what state your neuraxis or your brain is in, so that we can see exactly what's going on. And when we do that, the big difference is going into what's called repeat testing. So if we do just a simple balance test, we have you close your eyes. I'm not going to close my eyes, but we have you stand with your feet together and your eyes are closed. And I have you do that a few times. Do it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. And maybe on the first time it doesn't look good, but then after a couple times it looks better and you're standing more flat, you're standing more firm after a few times. Does the test normalize? Great. That means that function of your vestibular system and proprioception system is okay. We don't need to go down that route. We don't need to go down that hole. So then what happens if it gets worse? So if I have you do it again and the second time and the third time, does it get worse with repeat testing? That's where we might have to dig a little bit. That might be leading down to here. Are there diet things, believe it or not, that can cause these issues? Medications, all side effects with medications, or are there a disease or something more serious going on? Or is it just very poor function? So then if it does get worse or it doesn't change, then we'll go down here, and where some of the magic happens is we can run trial stimulation. So going back to balance, maybe you're not balancing very well because you don't have a lot of input coming in from the bottom of your feet, or your inner ear system is off by just a little bit. So we might do some what's called head position exercises, like an Epley's maneuver, Or we might do some proprioceptive stimulation to your feet or your ankles, and then we run the test again. Do it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Does it get better? Does it get worse? Or is there no change? If it gets worse, then I'm doing something wrong. If it gets better, then we can go down and we can figure out a treatment plan. Because if it gets better, it means that neuronal pool, those neurons are intact, they're ready to get better. So let's come up with a treatment plan to have you come in the office or do exercises at home to get that system better. Then if there's no change, then it might mean it's not the right stimulation, or again, I'm doing something wrong. But with that, going back to this, the big difference is, does things get better, worse, or no change with repeat testing? And then if it gets better, going down to the fun part, can we come up with a treatment plan? Then with all of that, the treatment plans might be coming in office a few times a week. For patients that come out of town, we have them come in a few times a day. More to come on that. And then going back here with labs and things like that, we're usually giving support with supplementation, diet changes, things to make your brain function at a higher level. And this can get applied to a lot of different conditions. Getting more specific with that from earlier, for our kids, it's autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and other learning disabilities, tics, Tourette's, OCD, PANS. For adults, it's PTSD, balance problems, vertigo, post-concussion, stroke rehab. If they're not too far gone, we can help people with mild Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, in other situations like that. So wanted to give a quick 101 about what we do to get people through the office for their functional care plans. As always, if you have any questions, let us know.